When I started working at Best Billiards, the owner there literally told me, you know, when cues come in that are broken, cut them apart and see how they're built. And he had been playing pool since he was a kid. His dad owned a pool hall. He didn't know why the cues played different. He just knew if he picked up 3 cues that looked the same, they didn't play the same. And that was just unexplainable. So as I cut the cues apart, I saw there were different construction methods. I could sit here all day and tell you about the differences between my pool cues and everybody else's pool cues, from the construction to the selection of the wood. But don't take my word for it. Take the words of my customers. Here they are playing with the cues in Riverside, California at Shooters.
My name's Michael. I'm from Ontario, California, and I've been playing competitively now for about 2.5 years. I look for a solid hit, a consistent hit, and something that's going to allow me to do what I need to do with the cue ball. Basically, the low deflection is the best thing for me. The consistent hit, the solid hit, I don't really get that from other cues in production. Mainly, they're a little bit more flimsy. They don't seem like they have as solid of a hit as Ariel's cues. Ariel's cues provide low deflection. When I'm hitting the cue ball, I can control the cue ball, put it where I need to put it on the table, and I don't have to worry about throwing the ball off of the pocket. I could just center it in the pocket and get the cue ball where I need to get. I'm looking for a consistent hit, and when I'm buying a cue, I'm looking for something that's customizable, exactly what I want, color option I want, wood I want, and that's why I choose Ariel's cues.
Most cue makers nowadays don't core their cues. We chose to core the cues because it adds structural rigidity and it makes the cue play better while also ensuring that the cue will remain straight over its lifespan.
My name is Beth, and I've been playing 23 years, and I'm an amateur player. I choose Ariel's cues because I've known him a long time, and actually he's my first custom cue, so he's able to properly weigh the stick out and add more extensions to what I need to benefit my game. His cues, like I said, are natural for me because he's weighted out. It's an extension, so I shoot more accurately. I don't even have to think, you know, it does the work for me.
Bird's eye and fiddleback cues tend to have a slightly softer, a little more plush hit to them, like a cue that has an ivory joint on it, even though the cue doesn't have an ivory joint. Still very pretty cues, very highly figured, and excellent playing cues for pool. Some of the products we use in the shop for inlay are gold, silver, abalone, and ivory, ivory being what we use the most of. We typically will recut abalone into the fine silver, so it gives it a nice little pop. It just doesn't look like just a flat piece of silver. Gold is very beautiful in a cue, and we always polish all of the gold and silver to a mirror finish.
My name is Brock. I'm an amateur player. I've been playing pool for about 9 years. When I'm looking for a cue, I'm looking for a solid hit, stiff hit, something that's consistent, good playability. The hit on an Ariel and the playability with an Ariel is unlike any other cue I've played. I believe that it's a little more accurate, has a more solid, sturdy hit. It allows me to aim the way I like to aim. It puts superior spin on the ball and allows me to play the shot just the way I envision it. I think overall Ariel's cues are the most consistent cues that I've hit. The hit on them is unlike any other production cue that I've ever tried.
The materials that we use here when we wrap the cues are an Irish linen, either in a solid or a two-tone spec. And for the more expensive cues or people who don't prefer linen, we have elephant, lizard, or regular leathers to wrap the cue in. Usually when we wrap the cues, the most common wrap we do here is a solid black linen that's triple pressed. It's very smooth and matches almost every cue. But when we do have a cue that is solid black or there's more black than anything in it, we'll switch to either a black and white spec wrap or a white with black spec wrap and still do all the pressing on it so it feels very smooth, very finished, high quality product. When you see a production line cue, the tips of the point will usually be rounded. They were created on a CNC, and the radius you're looking at is the diameter of the tool that cut it. When we create the points in the forearm, we use a large 90-degree cutter and cut an actual channel in the wood and split the point in half, so you're putting a triangle shape in the cue, and when you turn it down, it makes a very sharp point. The point method we use here is veneer stacking. That means we stack 2 veneers on one side, 2 veneers on the other, and when we split the points, the seam is virtually invisible. The way a few other people do it is they split the veneer down the middle, wrap it around the piece of wood, and on occasion when you don't do that job right, you can see a seam running right down the middle. It usually looks kind of black.
My name is Josh and I'm a professional player. I've been playing for 24 years. I look for a cue that I'm confident behind. I have to have the faith in the cue in order to shoot well. When I choose a cue, I need a cue that hits very solid, a cue that I have confidence behind. When I think of a projected outcome when I shoot the ball, it happens that way. You know, it's just the cue has a very good feel, and I feel like I'm just projecting my arm out to the ball. I'm choosing Ariel's cue because it's a very even balance between many custom cues. Many cues are constructed where they come out way too stiff, and I feel very confident with stroking the cue ball, and I can tell where it's going to go, and I know I'm going to get out when I need to.
In the shop, we thread as many components as possible for the cue. The ferrules are threaded, all joint collars, and the butt cap. The reason this is important is because when you're playing pool, whether you're breaking or drawing and following the ball, it's very hard on the components, and if you don't thread them, they tend to come loose, especially if you use something like 5-minute epoxy. We don't use 5-minute epoxy here. We use 24-hour structural adhesive. The reason that's important is because it takes so long to dry, it creates a physical bond between the two materials, and it is virtually impossible to break that bond.
My name is Maria Rice. I'm a league player. I've been playing for 10 years and I'm from San Dimas, California. I choose Ariel's cues for the way it shoots, for the look of it, and how it's customized to what I want in a cue. You get a great playing cue and you get something that is customized to what you want it to look like, and he collaborates with you to make that happen. You can get great English on the ball. It's always consistent, and I've been playing with it for 10 years. I've had people offer to buy my cue for me, and I refuse to part with it because I love the way it shoots. For a cue to be able to play well and to look good is a huge thing. So if you can get both, then why not go with an ACQ?
The construction of the cue is the same every time, but there are other adjustments that we make. When the cue is getting finished, we adjust the densities. We change the shafts around for different densities, so that when the complete construction is done, all the parts work in harmony.
Oh my God,